Okay, let's go.
A cafe as a first business. I guess I won't be very original if I say that almost everyone has thought about this kind of business as their very first one at least once in your life. But is there really any point in this business? Let's find out using some dry and boring numbers. I'm not going to talk about all the pitfalls of this business, but instead I'll just show you how much you can potentially earn per month. Let's start with the obvious. It doesn't matter how many customers come for coffee. What matters is how many customers you can actually serve. Here's a simple scheme of the coffee ordering process for clarity. From it, we can see that the customer enters the cafe, looks for the menu, chooses coffee, places an order, waits for the coffee to be prepared, and pays for it. Here I showed the happy path without any issues. And if we take the happy path approach into account, we can imagine that while the first customer is waiting for their coffee, the second customer is already standing behind them and going through the initial steps of the customer journey. Therefore, for the calculation, we will take this time. So we see that the maximum limit is 17 people per hour. That's assuming the customer knows what they want, doesn't ask questions, always pays for the coffee regardless of its quality. And also assuming the worker doesn't stop at all. No breaks, no lunch, no toilet, no equipment or supply issues, etc. In this case, we are trying to take the most ideal conditions possible, because even the simple operational process of ordering 1 cup of coffee actually looks like this. So in theory, one barista can prepare 204 cups of espresso per day. That's if the coffee is ground in advance. The coffee machine is always heated. The portafilters are clean and dry. Of course, experienced process improvement professionals will say this isn't very realistic. Again, in this video, everything is conditional and we're calculating the happy path. Some of you, as real sharks of business and bright representatives of pure capitalism, may already have an idea in your head.
I'll hire 3 baristas. I'll even allow them small breaks during the day, so the total will be produced to 600 cups per day.
Great thinking. However, there's a problem with this idea. If we look at generalized and average data about cafe attendance per day, it looks like this. Small cafe, 20 seats, 50 to 100 guests per day. Medium cafe, 50 seats, 100 to 200 guests per day. A popular city cafe or coffee shop in a high traffic area, 200 to 400 guests per day. So let's keep just one barista in the coffee shop who will carry the load of 204 cups per day. After all, we're calculating the maximum possible revenue in this case.
I asked a cafe with 3.5% milk, not 3.2%.
Wow, no.
17 cups per hour. I feel sorry for this barista. For 8 hours a day. 12 hours a day. For 31 days straight. That gives us 6,324 cappuccinos sold. A cappuccino in Europe costs about 3 to 4 euros. Somewhere it's more, somewhere less. Now let's subtract some amounts from that price, which we can roughly estimate. Let's take the average price of 3 euros and 50 cents and immediately subtract the food cost per cup, the cost of beans, since we can easily calculate that. That leaves us with 3 euros and 20 cents for a cup of espresso is the customer price including VAT. But VAT is not your profit, turnover or expense that you can somehow deduct later. It's a tax you must pay to the government. They vary in every country and it's hard to make a universal example. But let's assume a reduced VAT of 10% for coffee shops.
Come on, bring him down here. Come on, move. Going on. What the fuck did I do wrong? Tell me.
So we have €3.50 food cost, VAT equals €2.90 per cappuccino. This gives us a preliminary monthly revenue of 6,324 cups times €2.90 equals 18,339 euros. Now let's consider rent. Let's take the average rent of 2,500 euros for a small cafe space in a big European city. My inner perfectionist is rebelling about the numbers. I know they're rough. Utility costs, electricity, water, heating, garbage, at least 1,000 euros per month will easily come in as minimum expenses. Let's take the European average salary of 12 euros per hour gross. As an employer, you also have to pay additional taxes, 15 to 20% on top of this minimum wage. In the end, the real cost of one employee for you is 15 euros per hour. Now let's take our barista who works non-stop for 12 hours a day for 31 days straight. 12 hours times 31 days times 15 euros per hour equals 5,580 euros. And this amount doesn't even include overtime pay. Preliminary result, 18,339 euros revenue minus 2,500 euros rent minus 1,000 euros utilities minus 5,580 euros salary equals 9,259 euros income. Now from this amount, you still need to pay corporate tax. Again, this is an approximation, but we can confidently say it will be around 25%, sometimes higher, sometimes lower, but roughly like that. 9,259 euros minus 25% tax equals 6,944 euros net income. So that's the final number we got. This is the approximate maximum profit from one small cafe.
You ain't seen nothing yet. White. Impressive. Very nice.
We took the harshest conditions for the worker and the most ideal conditions for the business. Nothing ever breaks in the cafe. It's always clean. Suppliers themselves monitor stock levels and refill them. Zero waste from production. Every gram of coffee and every piece of cake or pastry is sold out. Barista handles all administrative issues. Unhappy customer, they simply don't exist for you. Accounting costs? A CRM system takes care of everything, automatically creating reports and submitting them to the tax office. Marketing expenses? Clients just come to you on their own, stand neatly in line for their coffee, and each of the 200 daily customers arrives at the exact same time. No seasonality or peak hours. And this is only a small part of the operational activities that must actually be done when running a cafe. Overall, in this video, we also didn't take into account many financial details. We also didn't consider that all operations here are happening in an already set up business with all necessary equipment. As if by magic, you became the owner of a ready-to-go cafe with everything included, and you don't need to pay for it or calculate things like ROI. But what's the conclusion of this video? Opening one cafe from a financial perspective is basically just self-employment at best. That's if you did everything correctly. Also, you'll most likely have to work yourself, even if you have hired staff. It's neither good nor bad, it just is. Maybe you'll actually be happy being the owner of your own business, even if in the end your profit is the same as if you were employed working 8 hours a day, 5 days a week. But to really earn well in this business, you need a chain of cafes. Only then, thanks to small profits from each coffee shop combined with scale, you can collect real profit and become a successful company owner. Or am I wrong? I'm interested in your opinion in the comments. Was this video helpful for you? Then hit that subscribe button.
Do it! Just